The Calgary Flames are in a tough spot where the playoffs are getting further and further out of reach, and our first round pick is practically destined to go to Montreal. But now that the playoffs are unattainable, this changes everything for the Flames. We could see prize prospects coming to the show sooner than later, and the entire vibes of the organization are still high according to Sportsnet's Elliotte Friedman. We're going to get into all that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. We're going to start kind of negative and go towards the positive, so we got to start with how the future is dim. And you must forgive me, I didn't really feel like doing a video after we lost the Battle of Alberta. Just honestly wasn't in the mood at all. That one stung a lot. But the future is dim, and when I say that, I mean the future is dim for the very, very, very close future. Not the distant future, not a few years away. I'm talking about the rest of this season. And why do I say that? Well, of course, because of playoff implications and our whole, deal with our first round pick going to Montreal. So why am I saying this? Well, Jason Gregor tweeted out, he's obviously a Canucks guy, but he tweeted this out, that the Canucks and Flames are not mathematically eliminated, but they are done. If St. Louis only goes 4-3 in their last 7 and the Wild go 4-4, then Vancouver has to go 7-0-1 to get in, and Calgary would have to go 8-2, which, let's just be honest, is not happening. The only races remaining in the West are for seeding position. And, the way the Blues are going right now, it kind of seems like they're never going to lose. So Calgary essentially has to win pretty much every single game remaining, and that's if St. Louis and Minnesota don't do all that great. Or they do good enough, let's say, in their remaining games. As we know, St. Louis has had quite an easy schedule down the stretch, as we've seen with a bunch of wins, but they've even been winning the tough games, like a game in Colorado. That one shouldn't have been, as easy of a win as it was for them. They only won 2-1, but still, a win is a win. In Minnesota, while they are slumping, still, it's just too much for Calgary to try and get back, because the way the tiebreakers are right now, Vancouver and Calgary both are nowhere near the amount of regulation wins and regulation or overtime wins that St. Louis and Minnesota are at. So honestly, the future is dim in terms of playoffs. Are we officially out? No. Does it seem negative to say we are? Yes, but it's just the most realistic outcome is that St. Louis and Minnesota get in. If we check the money puck wheel, obviously, St. Louis and Minnesota, both very high 80% chance of making it there. Calgary down to now 15%-ish now that they lost to the Oilers, and obviously St. Louis has just remained winning, and then Vancouver is less than a 10% chance. So I guess another silver lining here is, hey, at least we'll do better than Vancouver this year when it really comes down to it. A lot of people are hoping now that the playoffs are kind of out of reach, just lose. Tank. You can still win the lottery and get the first overall pick, or win the lottery and at least keep our first round pick kind of thing, which is all completely fair. But one thing I did want to show was just this as well. So see Red Central, they tweeted out, the Flames' playoff fate will likely be decided by the end of this week. 4 games, 2 of them against Colorado and Vegas, so tough opponents. They either need to win all of them and get lots of help, or they fall too far back and it's over by week's end. So at least the suffering, the uncertainty will be over by the end of this week. Like we've seen, there are tough games, obviously one against Colorado, which we'll talk about later in this video, which is tonight, of course. But there are some decent W's from this season, and it comes from Elliotte Friedman. So he actually, on the 32 Thoughts podcast today, said, I think you have to look at the big picture in Calgary this year. The biggest success the Flames had this year was that they made their players happy again. It was, a very collective group this year. They were very tight-knit, which was great. Last year's unit was tight-knit as well, but there was so much drama, and Calgary just didn't seem like a destination anyone wanted to play. You think of Hanifin, some of those other guys who wanted out, like Lindholm, but now it seems like the players want to be here. The players are happy with the organization, and that's a huge dub. So despite the Flames most likely not making the playoffs and most likely having to give their first round pick to Montreal, this does kind of change everything for the Flames. It's back to being a situation where, hey, this is an organization people want to play for. We can make you happy, give you what you want kind of thing, and you can still play hard and have some success, which is great to see. The vibes have been high this season, which is absolutely fantastic. And that's not even really what the title of this video is about in terms of this changes everything, but it does make sense in that way. It's actually huge for Calgary to be a place where players want to play, which is absolutely fantastic. Let's get a little more positive and talk about how the future is bright. And of course, you saw him on the thumbnail. You know who I'm talking about. It is, of course, Zane Parekh. What a prospect. So this is interesting. The Win column tweeted this out and then wrote an article. So they wrote, with the Saginaw Spirit trailing their first round playoff series 2-0, we could see Zane Parekh join the Flames soon. Already, alarms are ringing. That's fantastic to see. He has nothing left to prove in the OHL, so it would be good to see how he fits in the NHL. And that's kind of another silver lining if the Flames aren't really in the hunt for the playoffs anymore. You can bring up some young guys, give them some experience, and why not with Parekh? So let's hop into this article here. Zane Parekh just finished another dominant season in the OHL, scoring an astonishing 107 points in 61 games. Oh my God, as an defenseman, that is just insane. To do that back-to-back years essentially is completely ludicrous. He will not be back in the OHL next season, as he has proven that he will be ready to make the jump to pro hockey. The question is, when will Zane Parekh join the Calgary Flames? With how things currently stand, it could be sooner than expected. Woo-hoo-hoo. Can Parekh start with the Wranglers? Unfortunately, no. Due to Parekh's age and OHL experience, he does not qualify to play in the AHL next season. The eligibility criteria states that a player must be either 20 years old or complete 4 years in major junior hockey before being eligible for the AHL. Parekh will not be 20 until February next season and only has 3 OHL seasons under his belt. Therefore, he can't go to the Wranglers at all. You can just miss that step, can't you? The only way he cannot be in the OHL next year is if he makes the Flames team out of training camp. However, we might see him wearing the Flaming C sooner than that. If that doesn't excite you, I hate to break it to you. You're just not a Flames fan. Parekh could be in the NHL soon. With the Saginaw Spirit being down 2-0 in the first round, Flames fans could see Parekh in the NHL soon. If the Erie Otters eliminate the Spirit in round 1 of the OHL playoffs, Parekh could make his NHL debut this season. Woo! He would slide into the lineup, taking out one of the third pairing defensemen in Miramanov or Braden Pahal. Obviously, Jake Bean is there as well, but if the Flames are kind of going in tank mode, I'm so sorry to Jake Bean, especially if for some reason he's watching this video. If the Flames want to tank, keep Bean in the lineup. I mean, I just had to say it. After the loss to the Edmonton Oilers on Saturday night, the playoff hopes for the Flames are pretty much gone. The Blues have won 9 straight games, making it extremely tough for the Flames to keep up. I mean, we all know at this point, if they catch up, it has to be with the Wild, really. This makes it much more likely for Parekh to join the Flames if his OHL season ends early. Ryan Huska probably will not let him play if the Flames remain in the playoff race for the remainder of the season. But like we said, after this week, we'll know. We'll know if the Flames are still really in the playoff hunt at all, and we'll know if the Saginaw Spirit are still in the OHL playoffs. I never thought I'd cheer kind of against one of our guys, but I mean, it might be worth it to kind of go for it to see if he loses and can come play some important games. I mean, he's already signed his ELC, so that doesn't matter. If you play only a limited amount of games, it won't burn a year off. There's just no harm in doing it at all. We really could see our future sooner than later, which is nice to see. It would be great to see Parekh get in some games and honestly carry an offense that has really struggled this whole season. Imagine him quarterbacking our power play. I mean, that's just the stuff of dreams right there. So who knows? It could also change everything in terms of our future, in terms of everything else. Having Parekh come to the NHL sooner than later, it's always a huge thing organizationally when your top prospect comes and plays with the big boys. I mean, it would just be phenomenal to see. And like we said before, there is a game tonight, so let's hop into that. Obviously, starting this very telling week for the Calgary Flames. They are on the Amazon Prime game tonight in Colorado. This one's at 6:30 Calgary time against the Avalanche. Of course, the Avs, they're a tough team. I mean, we've played them recently, and they're tough. That's all I'm going to say. They are a really good team who are starting to get ready for their playoff push. Imagine if they get Landeskog back. That would be phenomenal for them. But, going to be a tough one tonight, going, of course, against Calgary's own Cale Makar. So it'll be interesting. At the time of recording, I don't know who's starting in goal. I wouldn't be shocked if it is Vladar, but of course we will just have to wait and see. And of course, go Flames go tonight. Let's get into the comment of the day to wrap up this video. And this one goes very well with kind of everything we've been talking about in this video. I know I've been talking a million minutes. Well, it's about 10, but either way, let's continue. Shiny Zekrom, they said we are 6 points out of the playoffs currently, and this is from a day or two ago. So we are 6 points out of the playoffs currently, but we are 5 points up on the 11th pick. Maybe easier to stop getting points and let some teams pass us, since 11th can win the lottery and jump to first overall. Downside is the odds of winning the draft lottery at 11th are worse than our current odds of making the playoffs. The numbers, any way you look at it right now, aren't great for the Flames, and it's hard to be optimistic. It's hard to be positive, but I mean, it's easier to lose games than win them, it seems, apparently. The Flames already can't score, so might as well give up a few. But it is true. We would have to slip quite a little bit to be safely in that realm of, winning or getting our pick and maybe winning the lottery. But, yeah, overall, the math ain't great, but hey, there's one way to do it. There's one way not to do it, and we'll see which way the Flames go. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.